The Global Tech Vision Conference wasn't just the biggest technology event of the year. It was the place where reputations were built, dreams were funded, and giants were made. People didn't come here to network. They came to be seen, to be envied, to be feared. Every step inside the sprawling convention center echoed with ambition, ego, and the soft hum of billion-dollar dreams clashing under neon lights. Tonight, the air felt even heavier, electrified by the presence of the star of the conference, Ava Kingsley, CEO of Nexera Robotics, a woman polished for power, sculpted for attention, sharpened by entitlement. Cameras trailed her like obedient servants. Every time she lifted her chin, a spotlight seemed to obey. She was brilliant, no one denied that, but brilliance wrapped in arrogance often becomes dangerous. And Ava had sharpened her arrogance into a weapon. Every journalist wanted her quote. Every founder wanted her praise. Every investor wanted a piece of her company. Everyone, except the quiet black man walking into the venue with measured steps and a presence that didn't shout for attention, Jason Ward. He didn't dress to impress. He didn't talk loudly. He didn't storm through crowds like he owned them. He simply moved, and people moved out of his way without understanding why. That was true power. The kind that didn't demand recognition, but commanded it anyway. No one knew him yet, but they would. Tonight, Ava stood near the VIP glass panel stage entrance, surrounded by her board members, her PR team, and a cluster of young founders hanging on to every syllable she uttered. She basked in the energy of worship. Phones hovered like drones above her head, capturing angles she didn't even need to pose for. Jason approached, weaving through the crowd with composed confidence. Not arrogant, not needy, not timid, just present. He stopped a respectful distance from Ava and extended his hand. "Ava Kingsley," he said, voice calm, steady. "Congratulations on your keynote. Ava didn't let him finish. She stared at his hand like it was dipped in sewage. Slowly, dramatically, she raised her chin and smirked for the cameras already zooming in. "I don't shake hands with people who don't belong in this industry." Laughter erupted, sharp, entertained, cruel. A couple interns snickered. Analysts elbowed each other. Someone whispered, "Who let him into VIP?" The PR team loved it. Drama drove engagement. Humiliation drove virality. Jason lowered his hand. But he didn't flinch. He didn't snap back. He didn't break eye contact. His expression remained unreadable, a still lake before a hurricane. Security moved in like predators circling prey. A guard stepped forward. "Sir, this area is for confirmed investors only." Ava folded her arms, wearing a smile soaked in venomous confidence. If he wants to beg for a meeting, he can stand in line like every other nobody. More laughter, more cameras, more humiliation. But Jason simply inhaled slowly, checking his phone as a notification glowed. Investor control panel opens in 10 minutes. Ward Capital, $220 million investment decision pending. Ava didn't notice. Ava didn't care. Ava didn't know she had just spit on the hand of the man who controlled the fate of her entire company. And of her future. A host announced Ava's name. She strutted toward the stage like a queen ascending her throne. Photographers practically dove in front of her. She loved it. Drama was currency. Disrespect was entertainment. Humiliation was content. This was her domain. Her pitch ignited the room. Nexera Robotics, cutting-edge, revolutionary, bold. The investors nodded like bobbleheads. The applause thundered. Every spotlight chased her like desperate lovers. Everyone believed she had already won. Everyone except the man waiting near the side entrance. Jason stood silent, stoic, watching, learning, calculating. 7 minutes left. Ava ended her pitch with a flourish that looked almost choreographed. And thanks to Nexera's breakthrough technology, we expect to secure full funding today. Applause shook the room. Then she saw him again, Jason. Standing where security had pushed him. Calm. Unbothered. Ava rolled her eyes. "Oh, for heaven's sake. You again?" Jason didn't look at her. He looked at the audience. "My name is Jason Ward," he said, voice projecting across the auditorium with surprising authority, "founder of Ward Capital, the firm controlling the final $220 million investment Nexer needs." Silence. As if someone unplugged the world. Heads snapped toward Ava. Her smile fell off her face like wet paint. Jason continued, every word surgical. "I extended my hand to congratulate Miss Kingsley on her keynote. She refused, and publicly insulted my presence in this industry." A ripple of shock. Mouths dropped. Phones whipped out. Ava laughed nervously. "Oh, come on. This is... He can't possibly be." Jason lifted his phone. The central screen behind Ava refreshed instantly. Ward Capital. $220 million. Investment decision, pending. A collective gasp stormed through the auditorium. Ava's confidence evaporated so fast it left a scorch mark. She stumbled forward. "Jason, I didn't know." "No," he said sharply. "You didn't care to know." Her CTO sprinted toward him, sweating panic. "We deeply apologize, Mr. Ward. It was a misunderstanding." Jason shook his head once. "Underestimation," he said, "is not a misunderstanding. It's a choice." He tapped his screen. The auditorium froze. Nexera Robotics. Funding status denied. Final decision filed. The audience gasped so loudly the room vibrated. Ava's knees shook. Her dream, her empire, her future collapsing in real time. Investors stepped back from her like she was contagious. "No," Ava whispered. "No, Jason, please. We need this deal. Our workers. Our technology. Our future depends on." Jason's voice cut through her desperation like a blade. "You teach innovation," he said, "but your behavior belongs to a past where people were judged by everything except capability." She reached for his arm. He stepped back. "You refused my hand," he said coldly. "Now I refuse your empire." A camera flashed. Another. Another. Ava's downfall was now digital history. The central screen updated again. Breaking. Nexera stock crashes. Investors withdraw. Public offering suspended. Emergency board meeting incoming. Ava clutched her chest like pain was trying to escape. Her PR team vanished. Her board members backed away. Her supporters scattered like birds fleeing a storm. Jason walked past her. No celebration. No gloating. No revenge speech. Just justice. The audience applauded. Not for her pain, but for the truth finally standing on its own 2 feet. Jason paused at the exit. Ava stood alone under the same spotlight she once claimed as her throne. Shaking. Exposed. Powerless. He looked back just once. "Next time," he said, "shake hands with humility." Then he walked out, leaving her guilt to echo louder than any applause. The reversal was complete. But the story wasn't. Not even close. As Jason stepped into his car, his phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. "You shouldn't have embarrassed her. You don't know who you just crossed." Attached. A photo of Jason's private home, taken minutes earlier. His jaw clenched. Someone was watching him. Someone dangerous. Someone connected to Ava. Or worse. His driver asked, "Sir, should I call security?" Jason stared at the photo, eyes turning sharper than steel. "No," he said quietly. "Prepare the team. This goes deeper than funding." He dialed a number he hadn't called in years. When the line connected, a voice answered. "Jason? After all this time, you're calling about them, aren't you?" Jason exhaled slowly. "Part 2, he murmured, "starts now." The night after the Global Tech Vision Conference, the world was still buzzing like an overloaded electrical grid. Clips of Ava Kingsley's humiliation flooded every social platform. Millions watched her arrogance collapse. Millions more replayed Jason Ward's calm dismantling of her empire. It wasn't just viral. It was historic. The kind of moment people save, repost, remix, and rehearse for future comeback. Hashtags trended worldwide. Hashtag HandshakeGate. Hashtag Respect is Power. Hashtag Jason Ward. Hashtag Nexera Falls. Hashtag Arrogance has consequences. Ava Kingsley's name wasn't associated with innovation anymore. It was associated with downfall, and humiliation spreads faster than achievement ever will. But while the world laughed and analyzed, while Ava panicked and spiraled, while investors distanced themselves like rats fleeing a sinking ship, Jason was silent, not celebrating, not gloating, not giving interviews, because Jason knew something the world did not. Ava didn't fall alone. She didn't fall quietly, and she wouldn't fall peacefully. Some empires crumble, but others explode, and Nexera Robotics wasn't just a company. It was the front of a network far more powerful than anyone realized. A network that never forgave public embarrassment. A network now looking for someone to punish, someone to destroy, someone to erase. And their first target was Jason. Jason sat in the back seat of the black sedan as it glided across the city like a silent shadow. The night was cold, sharp, metallic, the kind that scraped the surface of your skin and whispered that danger was coming. His driver, a composed ex-military man named Harris, glanced at him through the mirror. "Sir, you're awfully quiet." Jason didn't speak. He simply stared at his phone, at the message, at the picture of his home, taken minutes earlier. The porch light was on. His living room windows were glowing. And on the steps, a figure stood just far enough in the shadows to make the threat unmistakable. The message read, "You shouldn't have embarrassed her. You don't know who you just crossed." Harris's voice broke the silence again. "Sir, should I alert the team?" Jason placed the phone face down on his knee. "No." Harris blinked. "No, sir? Someone was at your house. And the fact that they want me to know they were there," Jason said quietly, "means they're not done." The car hummed softly as it stopped at a red light. "Prepare the team," Jason murmured. "This goes deeper than funding." Harris nodded, his jaw tightening. Jason unlocked his phone again and scrolled to a contact he hadn't called in years. He hesitated once, then pressed call. A low, gravelly voice answered. "Jason Ward," the man said. "Didn't think I'd ever hear from you again." "I need intel," Jason said. Immediately. There was a pause. A dangerous pause. "This about Nexera?" the voice asked. "This is about whoever Ava runs to now," Jason replied. The voice chuckled darkly. "Oh, so it's them." Jason exhaled. "Yes." "Well," the voice said, "you're not gonna like what I tell you." Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Ava Kingsley sat in her penthouse office overlooking the skyline. Claw marks of mascara streaked down her cheeks. Her hair was frayed from anxious fingers. Her phone vibrated non-stop with disaster alert. Nexera stock down 68%. Board members demand explanation. Investors withdraw immediately. SEC prepares investigation. Public offering cancelled. Her assistant tiptoed into the room. "Ma'am, the board wants you on a conference call immediately." Ava's voice was a whisper dragged across gravel. "Tell them I'll join in 2 minutes." The assistant nodded but didn't leave. "Ma'am, there's also someone downstairs asking to see you." Ava didn't look up. "I don't have time for visitors." The assistant swallowed. "It's someone from the Apex Circle." Ava froze. Slowly, she raised her head. "The Apex Circle?" "Yes, ma'am." "Who?" He wouldn't give a name." Ava's heart slammed once against her ribs. Then again. The Apex Circle was not an investment group. It wasn't a consulting firm. It wasn't a tech alliance. It was something far more dangerous. A secret coalition of hidden power brokers, founders, CEOs, financiers, politicians, who collectively controlled billions and manipulated entire industries. They operated silently. They operated ruthlessly. They operated without forgiveness. Ava had always hoped to be invited someday. But no one hoped for a late-night, unannounced visit. Not from them. "Bring him up," Ava whispered. Her assistant hurried out. Ava wiped her face fast, straightened her hair, stood tall. The elevator dinged. The doors opened, and a tall man in a charcoal suit stepped out. Chiseled jawline, salt and pepper hair, eyes cold enough to kill winter. "Ms. Kingsley," he said. "We need to talk." Ava swallowed hard. "Are you here about Jason Ward?" she asked. The man smirked. "No. I'm here about the embarrassment you caused us." Ava's blood froze. The man walked inside and closed the door behind him. Ava felt trapped. "Sir, I didn't know the investor was." "You didn't need to know," the man interrupted. He paced slowly around her office like he was surveying a battlefield. "You were supposed to secure that funding. Your company's IPO was meant to open a very specific door for us." Ava frowned. "A door to what?" He smirked. "Access. Influence. Power." His voice sharpened. "And you ruined everything with your ego." Ava's knees almost buckled. "I can fix this," she whispered. "I can apologize. I can." "No," he said. "You can't fix anything." Ava felt her breath shorten. "But we can." He stepped closer. "Do you want your company back?" Ava nodded fiercely. "Do you want your status back?" Yes, anything." "Good," he said. "Because you're going to help us do something in return." "What?" Ava asked. The man leaned in until she could feel his breath on her cheek. "You're going to help us destroy Jason Ward." Back in the sedan, Jason listened as the man on the phone revealed the truth. "Jason, you don't understand who Ava ran to." "I understand enough," Jason replied. "No," the man said. "You don't understand at all." Jason's grip tightened on the phone. "Ava Kingsley's rise wasn't natural," the man continued. "She wasn't just talented. She was backed by a shadow council of tech elites, a group with power none of your little investment firms can even imagine. They protect their own. They silence their enemies." Jason exhaled slowly. "So they sent someone to my house." "Someone?" the man scoffed. "Jason, that was a warning. A courtesy." He paused. "A final courtesy." Jason stared out the window. "I'm not afraid." "You should be." Jason's eyes darkened. "Then tell me everything." The voice sighed. "They're called the Apex Circle. And Ava? She's not done. She's already in talks with them. And trust me, they're coming." Jason nodded to himself. "Let them come." Jason hung up. "Some wars aren't fought with weapons. Some aren't fought with laws. Some are fought with knowledge, strategy, and absolute calm in the face of a storm." Jason prepared for war. Ava joined the video call with her 17 board members. They looked at her the way vultures look at something dying. One board member leaned forward. "Ava, we need the truth." "Why did you do it?" another demanded. "Did you know who he was? Why insult the man holding our future? You've cost us billions, Ava." The camera lightened her face enough to expose the fear buried behind her eyes. "Board members," Ava said slowly, "I have a solution." They waited. "This situation isn't over," Ava continued. "Ward Capital will reconsider their decision." "Why would they?" a director snapped. "He humiliated you." Ava smirked. That was part one. The board fell silent. Ava straightened her posture, confidence returning like a dim light wiring itself back on. "I now have allies stronger than Jason Ward's entire firm." A board member raised an eyebrow. "Who?" Ava's lips curled. "The Apex Circle." The entire board gasped. "You got access to them?" Ava smirked. "I was invited." This was a lie, but a useful one. "They've agreed to help restore our IPO," Ava said. "On one condition." "And what is that condition?" Ava leaned closer to the camera. "We destroy Jason Ward's reputation." The board exchanged glances. Then, "We're in." Ava smiled again. But it wasn't the smile of arrogance this time. It was the smile of someone teaming up with a wolf against a lion. Jason arrived at his home after midnight. Harris swept the entire perimeter twice. Everything seemed clear. But something was wrong. Jason could feel it. The air inside the home felt disturbed. Not by a presence, but by an intention. Jason stepped into his living room and stopped. On the glass coffee table sat a small black envelope with a silver border. No name, no seal, no fingerprints. He opened it. Inside were 3 items. A photograph of Ava, shaken, speaking with a shadowy man in a dark suit. A symbol, a circle with a single vertical line through it. A message on a thin white card. You took something from us. Now we take something from you. Jason's jaw tightened. He knew that symbol. He had seen it once before. 10 years ago. On a file connected to his father's death. His mind raced. They're alive. They're back. And they're not just coming for me. They already know where to hit me hardest. He rushed down the hallway and pushed open the door to his guest room. It was empty. His sister, Maya, was supposed to be staying there tonight. Her bags were still in the corner. Her jacket still on the chair. Her phone still on the nightstand. Jason whispered her name. Maya. Silence. He called again, louder. Maya. Nothing. He grabbed his own phone and dialed her number. The call didn't ring. It went straight to a recording. If you want her back, stop fighting us. Jason froze. His heart stopped. Every calm breath evaporated. His sister, his only remaining family, was gone. Taken. Used as leverage. By them. Jason swallowed hard. His eyes hardened into steel. He didn't tremble. He didn't panic. He didn't scream. He whispered one single sentence. They made this personal. Jason stared at the symbol again. The circle with the single vertical line. The mark of the apex circle. The mark associated with his father's mysterious death. The mark that had haunted him since he was young. He looked up slowly. And at that exact moment, a hidden speaker in his home crackled to life. A voice whispered, Jason, we finally meet. Jason turned sharply. Silence. No movement. Just the voice. You embarrassed Ava, the voice said calmly. You embarrassed us. Now we will show you how real power works. Jason clenched his fist. What do you want? He demanded. The voice chuckled. We don't want anything. We already took something. Jason's jaw locked. Where is my sister? She is alive, the voice replied. For now. Jason took a step forward, muscles tense. If you hurt her. If, the voice interrupted. Oh, Jason, you still don't understand. The speaker crackled again. We don't need to hurt her. We just need you to watch. Jason's breath caught. What are you talking about? The voice turned colder than ice. You embarrassed one woman in public. Now we will take a woman from you in private. Jason felt something inside him snap. Not fear. Not panic. Focus. Deadly focus. The voice continued. If you want her back, you'll do exactly what we say. The line went silent. Jason exhaled, trembling. He whispered one sentence. I'm coming for all of you. Then the speaker clicked back on for one final message. Good. We'll be waiting. Ava Kingsley stood in the executive boardroom at the top of Horizon Tower, a glass sky temple suspended above the city. Her hands trembled, though she held them behind her back, hidden. The board of directors watched her with cold expressions. She had summoned them. She had planned this moment. She thought she would destroy Jason Hale tonight. But instead, the doors opened. And Jason stepped inside. Calm. Prepared. Unshaken. His presence alone shifted the oxygen in the room. Ava's teeth tightened. You weren't invited. Jason gave a small, calm smile. I know. That's why I came. He placed a small drive on the conference table. This contains the recording of your blackmail attempt, the threats, the coordinated smear campaign, the investors you paid to sabotage us, and the network of CEOs you conspired with. A murmur rippled across the board. Ava's confidence cracked. You wouldn't. Jason leaned in. You wanted a war. Congratulations. You got one. One of the oldest board members adjusted his glasses. Ms. Kingsley, we will need to verify these allegations. Jason stepped back. You don't need to verify anything. The federal task force already has a copy. Ava froze. The boardroom erupted into whispers, tension slicing the air. You called the feds? Ava whispered, voice cracking. Jason's eyes never left hers. I didn't need to. They called me. That hit her like a collapsing world. As the board reviewed the files, everything Ava built, the lies, the intimidation, the shadow deals, unraveled in real time. Emails, payments, recordings. Ava tried to speak. This is manipulation. He wants revenge. Jason turned slowly. You publicly humiliated people. You sabotaged careers. You manipulated markets. You blackmailed your own executives. He stepped closer. And you tried to frame me for all of it. Silence. Just the low, clean click of the board chairman pressing a button before he spoke. Ava Kingsley, you are hereby stripped of your CEO position, effective immediately. Ava gasped, like the air had been ripped out of her lungs. Security, the chairman said softly. 2 guards entered. Ava shook her head violently, her voice breaking into desperation. You can't do this. This company is nothing without me. You are nothing without me. Jason lifted a single eyebrow. That's where you're wrong. Ava lunged toward him, but the guards caught her wrists. Her hair fell out of its perfect knot. Her voice, usually cold and sharp, cracked into something raw and terrified. You think you've won, Jason? You think this ends with me? Jason stepped closer until only inches separated them. It ends when people like you stop believing you're untouchable. News spread within hours. Ava Kingsley removed as CEO. Jason Hale vindicated. Federal investigation uncovers corporate conspiracy. The internet set itself on fire. Clip, exposés, breakdowns, reaction videos. Every employee who had ever suffered under Ava shared their stories. And every channel, every podcast, every blog mentioned one name, Jason Hale, the man who refused to bow, the man who fought back, the man who stayed calm through a storm built to break him. One night, days later, Jason stepped out of his car in the Horizon Tower parking lot. A familiar voice echoed behind him. You took everything from me. He turned. Ava stood at the far end of the garage. No security. No entourage, no throne of power, just a woman broken by her own cruelty. Jason didn't move. Ava, you took everything from yourself. Her voice trembled with rage and grief. You destroyed my empire. Jason shook his head once. No, I destroyed your illusion. They stood in silence, an entire history of war compressed between them. Then Jason said the final words she would hear from him. Power built on fear always collapses. You just thought you were the exception. Ava's eyes filled with something she had never allowed herself to feel. Regret. She turned away slowly, disappearing into the shadows of the garage, into a future that no longer belonged to her. 1 month later, Jason Hale stood on the top floor of his own tower, not Horizon, but the new American Tech Authority building. He had been appointed as chairman of the Federal Tech Oversight Council, a role Ava once tried to steal. In front of him stood hundreds of young black engineers, entrepreneurs, and creators. He spoke to them with steady strength. You don't rise by proving your worthiness to people committed to misunderstanding you. You rise by building something they can't destroy. The room thundered with applause. Jason smiled slightly. Not proud, not arrogant, just steady, just ready. His story wasn't about revenge. It was about awakening, about leadership, about choosing integrity over fear. He glanced out the window one last time. The city glowed. and somewhere in its cold corners, Ava Kingsley tried to rebuild a life she never thought she would lose. But that was no longer his story. Jason Hale had moved on. Above the noise, above the politics, above the cruelty, into purpose, into power rooted in truth. If you enjoyed this story, make sure you like the video, comment your favorite moment, subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. Share this with someone who needs motivation today. Your support helps us bring more stories of strength, resilience, and justice to life.